Hey guys, yeah, just coming on here real quickly. Do a bit of a video, if you will. Just talk about something real quickly because I know some people are kind of worried about potentially what could happen come WrestleMania time. Knowing how, WWE reacts to things. And I'm just checking something here, guys. Hold on. Okay, just checking something, guys. Hold on, sorry about that. But anyway, just coming on here because I know that some people are kind of worried. Just had to do something there, but are kind of worried about what potentially could happen at WrestleMania as far as the women are concerned. You see, we know that Drew McIntyre is challenging Brock Lesnar for the championship, but we don't know about Charlotte. Now, despite everybody being upset about Charlotte winning the Women's Rumble match, they might even be more upset about the potentiality of who she's facing. Now, over the past 24 hours, she worded some of the things she said, I have to admit, very well. She admitted it very well. She worded what she was going to say about, her victory and her opportunity ahead of her amongst the numerous millions of opportunities, as people put it, that she's gotten. And basically, she stated that, basically she stated that she is going to challenge for a championship, but she didn't state who. She said that on Raw last night. The other night, though, after her victory, she looked right into the camera and basically stated that this is her division. Now, you could say that she looked directly at all the women, all the fans, but mostly all the women on the roster and mostly the champions. But now the report going around is the reason she said what she did last night about challenging a champion, but she wasn't going to say who, is because the report going around is that the plans for WrestleMania and potentially WrestleMania weekend as a whole is Becky will defend the Women's Championship against Shayna Baszler. Sasha potentially, as of right now, and fans are hoping this is where it's leading, will face Sasha Banks. But where does that leave Charlotte, who won the Rumble? Well, this is where people would get confused and a little upset. You see, rumor going around is she's going to challenge for the NXT Championship. And whether or not that NXT Championship is held by Rhea Ripley or Bianca Belair, she's challenging for it. The only question is, where is she going to be challenging for it at? Speculation is it's going to be NXT TakeOver. But then, it being WrestleMania weekend, why would you leave the Queen, as she's known as, off the WrestleMania card if you're putting her on TakeOver? And some may argue that it makes TakeOver feel more important, just as big and important as WrestleMania. If you have a Rumble winner saying, hey, I want to challenge for the NXT Championship instead of one of the Elite Championships, one of the more established championships that we should be challenging for. Kind of like switch things up, kind of shake things up, if you will. And that could potentially be a good thing because anybody that's an NXT fan wouldn't mind NXT getting more exposure, getting more importance thrown its way. But then again, a report's been coming out as well from various sources, like Ryan Satin, Mike Johnson for sure, Sean Sapp, Fightful, Ringside News, Pro Wrestling Unlimited, Pro Wrestling Sheets, that potentially, should Charlotte, unless plans change, should Charlotte challenge for the NXT Championship, and right now it looks like it's going to be Rhea, but that could change as well, it would not take place at TakeOver, but at WrestleMania, which again is a big deal when it comes to the NXT brand, because usually the NXT Championship of any kind is on NXT TakeOver. Or on a TakeOver, period. It's never defended on something bigger than that. The only exception so far has been the NXT Championship held by Adam Cole, defended at Survivor Series. So, the question being now, is WWE going to follow through on this? Because I even mentioned to Alex and many others online, prepare for Lynch versus Flair 4. And I added in a super chat to Alex, 1 hour Iron Woman match. Which, he's like, ooh, But then again, if you think about it, if you want finality to this rivalry and, wanting to stop seeing it for a while, what better way to put a nail in that coffin for the time being? Or what better match? And then you look at Bayley and they're thinking, well, if you put her against Bayley, Bayley's pretty much going to lose anyway. Yeah. Probably in quick fashion, too, the way, some people look at how the company treats her. But then again, the idea that Charlotte could say, I want to go for the NXT title and I want to face Rhea Ripley, that's a dream match no matter where you look at it, because both are very statuesque like women. Both are strong. And it would be a battle of who is the more dominant female, who runs the NXT women's yard. The NXT division when it comes to the women, I should say, or the ladies. Who runs that division? Who's the alpha female, if you will? So it would be a nice matchup. And again, it would give some major importance to NXT, showing that the winner of a Royal Rumble match would rather challenge for an NXT title over a Raw or SmackDown title. So it's a really interesting scenario. It's a really interesting cumulbant. I think that's the word we can use, cumulbant, if you will, to look at. Because again, I think here's the thing. The one thing that would upset people, because they always look at the Royal Rumble winner challenging for one of the main roster titles, Raw or SmackDown. The one thing that would upset them is if WWE does do this, and they have, Charlotte challenge for the NXT title. People are going to be questioning, they're even questioning it now with the speculation and rumors and, stuff, reports. People are even questioning it now. What was the point of Charlotte winning if you're going to do that? Why didn't you just have Shayna win? Well, here's the thing. According to Wrestle Talk and Dave Meltzer and other sources, the original plans about a week ago was for Shayna Baszler to win the Rumble. Yeah, Shayna Baszler originally, as of a week ago, was supposed to be the one going over, and Roman Reigns was supposed to be the one going over in the men's match. Something must have happened behind the scenes. Like, I'm guessing some kind of deal had to be made where it's like Triple H probably went to Vince, and some people along with him went to Vince and said, look, you can't have Roman win. You build up too much goodwill for this guy to go in this direction again, because if you do, fans are going to go against Roman, and you don't want that. Which is true. And they probably said, look, you can still get what you want with Roman for Mania, but we need someone more established, so someone that's never really gotten a shot. And that's why they probably said, why not we give it to McIntyre? Fans are connecting with him. They love him. He's basically has the same kind of beast-like attitude that, Brock Lesnar has. Like, basically blankety blank, I'll just say it, ass kicker attitude. Kick your head off, beat the hell out of you attitude. Probably somebody had to argue for Drew to get that opportunity, saying, hey, look, you got similarities with these guys, and you could get yourself a good matchup out of these two. And Vince probably agreed, but on the condition that instead of Shayna winning, Charlotte goes over. Again, I don't know. I don't really know if that's what happened, but something had to be made to where Vince, as some people put it, Vince probably said, look, you want Drew to win the men's rumble? Not a problem. But instead of Shayna, but I want something in return. And the people probably, validating or, campaigning for Drew to win, or like, okay, well, what do you want? What do you want in return if you're going to let Drew win? Vince is probably like, what I want in return is, instead of Shayna winning the women's rumble, I want Charlotte. Yes, imagine that money coming through with her being the women's Rumble match winner. Yeah. And he probably doing something like, oh, and think about this. Father and daughter. The only father and daughter do to win Rumble matches. Ah, the publicity. Again, I don't know. I'm just thinking that may have been what happened. But whatever the situation is down the line, my thought, whatever the decision is down the line, one thing is for certain. People may be happy that Charlotte's going to be able to compete in an NXT style matchup where she'll be able to show what she could really do more so than before. But they're not. But the negative is they're not going to like the idea that the Rumble went to somebody that's not going to even be competing possibly at Mania or cashing in the shot at Mania, but instead at TakeOver, and that it should have at least gone to someone like Shayna if that was going to happen. But we'll have to wait and see. Again, reports are, though, the match could potentially happen at Mania and not TakeOver. And if it does, what do you do with Rhea come TakeOver? Do you have her take the night off? Do you have her compete in a tag match? What do you do? It's going to be really interesting what they would have planned for Rhea going into Mania weekend, because you know she has to be on TakeOver the night before. She has to compete somehow on TakeOver the night before going to compete on Mania. And if she competes at Mania, whether it's her or maybe they say, you know what, instead of Rhea, let's go Bianca, it would show you how much stock WWE has future-wise, big plan-wise, in both women. I mean, they showed it with Bianca at the Royal Rumble by letting her be the Iron Woman of that matchup. You know, being the first out of that field of 30 to set the record, which would get tied later on by Shayna in just a short amount of, 2 minutes or less? So, you know, you could tell that they have big plans for her, but they also have big plans for Rhea. I mean, the fact that they let her be one of the survivors at Survivor Series, 24 hours after she had that brutal War Games match, it shows you that they have high hopes for these two ladies. So either one of them, I guess, is going to work in their opinion. But the question is, who do they go with to face Charlotte if Charlotte goes to the NXT title? Right now, it's Rhea. And if it is, the storyline I'm going to guess is going to be the battle of the alpha females. Like, who runs the yard? Who runs the division? Who's the true queen, if you will? And honestly, I think the best solution, if they go that route, is for Charlotte to join the list of Rumble winners that cashed in their shot and lost. Because by losing, you're putting over somebody that potentially is going to probably take your spot. Because you can't tell me WWE, if they have Charlotte lose, is not going to wind down on her. Because, come on, let's be honest. The only reason Charlotte's getting all these opportunities, and I say this with all due respect because I'm a fan of Charlotte, believe it or not, I like Charlotte, is because Vince McMahon and maybe some others are afraid that Charlotte's going to try to potentially have a family down the line. Like, Ronda's trying to do right now. They are probably, the reason, in my opinion, and I've said this before, the reason Charlotte's getting so many shots is because I think Vince doesn't want to risk the fact that if he takes his time with Charlotte, that as he takes her time, she's going to end up, becoming pregnant and having a child and having to take some time off. And maybe wanting to be more of a mother than a competitor and hang him up. And he doesn't want that. So that's probably why Charlotte's been getting so many opportunities in the short amount of time she's been on the roster in the past 4.5 years. Because of the fact that not only is she a Flair, and maybe Vince is doing it, along with maybe some help from Triple H, as a thank you out of respect to Rick and everything he's contributed to the business, but also the fact that Vince doesn't want a chance that if he takes his time with her, she's going to end up being pregnant. She's going to end up becoming pregnant and having a child, and wanting to have and end up having a child, and maybe want to focus more on being a family woman, a mother, than being an active competitor. And I don't think Vince wants that. That's why Charlotte's getting the opportunities, in my opinion, more so than I think she should. And anybody watching this would agree. But honestly, getting back to what I'm saying, if Charlotte chooses Rhea, and the decision is the only reason she's going to do it is to put Rhea over, in a big way, then the best place to do it is not at Takeover, which is still a good venue, a good event to do it at, because not only are you putting this talent over, but you're also putting the brand over at the same time. But you could do the same thing on the big stage of WrestleMania, because you'll have so many people watching, not just in the stadium, but around the world, that if you have Rhea at WrestleMania in the center of the ring, hit a riptide on Charlotte and beat her 1, 2, 3, you not only put Rhea over as a dominant champion, but you put over the NXT Women's Championship as a big. You put that over as a big deal, and you put over the NXT brand as a big deal. And in a sense, you have Charlotte, even in the short career in a short amount of time she's had, pass the torch over to Rhea. As being the next big thing in the women's division. The new queen, if you will. But that all depends. A lot of people are saying right now that's the plan. That Shayna versus Becky, Sasha versus Bayley, Rhea versus Charlotte, potentially all three at Mania. All three matches at Mania. But then again, plans could change. Vince may one day go, you know what? I've changed my mind on Shayna and Becky. I want Charlotte and Becky. Yeah, it's a big box office match. It's gonna draw in money. Because that's basically what everything is to Vince. You could tell him, no, it's not gonna work. No, fans don't want to see this again. But Vince is like, but you don't see the big picture. It's about money. That's all that matters to him. So, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, if it happens, I say put it on Mania. Make it one of the final matches of the night, so that in prime time, in basically what is the upper echelon of that card, main event status, the main event section, if you will, you put NXT over in a big way. You put Rhea over in a big way, should you choose for her to go over Charlotte. And you're doing it, like I say, in the main event section, the main event, portion of that card. Not the main event, but the main event, upper echelon of it, if you know what I mean. But what do you guys think? What do you think of potentially this happening? Who would you want to win? And more importantly, how do you see it playing out? Do you think plans may change? And do you think WWE will either put it at TakeOver or at Mania? Let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. And I'll talk to y'all later.